Throughout my university career, I always saw these people around me getting all these nice big internships and they have a 4.0 with GPA and all this stuff, right? And I've always been a pretty average student. I would say like a B or C student. The reason why I think I've always been like kind of like an average student is because I get so distracted. I would always be in my thoughts and never really be focused during class. And I'm always the type of guy to just learn everything on my own, which works. But it's never something I was truly interested in. Now I'm wrapping it up here, getting university over with, but it's been around 5 years. So a 4-year program that took me 5 years, which, I switched majors a couple times, but that's the way she goes. I never really saw myself taking the path of chasing internships and chasing that role because I just didn't think that that's what I wanted to do. And I always thought that I wanted to start my own thing, but I never took action on it until back in February 2024. And prior to that, I was just working regular jobs during the summer, working at restaurants, bussing tables, working retail, etc. And those jobs taught me a lot. But for me, it was like I was looking to find what I actually wanted to do with my life. And let me just tell you the story of how I started in entrepreneurship. So around a year and a half ago, I was on exchange in the Netherlands, and I was in this little room by myself. I had spent the past year kind of like learning about how to set up ad campaigns on Facebook and how to do digital marketing, things like that. And I had taken some certifications, but I hadn't really taken any action on what to do. So I started making these videos talking about marketing and stuff. But I realized I didn't really have much authority to be doing that type of thing. I had zero client results or anything. So I was like, you know what? I need to actually go out there, get some clients, and get to work. So I started calling people. I started calling people up, providing my solutions to them to see if, you want to get more clients coming through the door. And, it was pretty bad. And I was doing it in Dutch as well. So I'm originally from there. And I was calling Dutch business owners with my broken Dutch. And somehow I managed to land a free trial client. I worked with them for just a month and set up my first ad campaign with them. And that was the first step of iteration. So all I did for them was set up their ad campaign, and I used their resources that they had to set it up. I wrote the copy and I set up the ad campaign. And the cost per lead was very low. I think it was around €5, which is around $7 Canadian. And the cost per lead was low, but it turns out the client had trouble converting the leads into business, and they were a real estate firm. So that's when my first step of iteration came in, where I realized, okay, I need to set up a system where we can follow up with these leads so they actually become clients, because the client themselves didn't really know what they were doing in terms of following up with their leads. So that was my first step of iteration. When I came to the next client, it was a gym owner. He had some other sort of problem with his Facebook, and nothing came from that. So the first 2 clients were just about learning. I didn't really have much success with that. And this is a crucial step if you want to start your own online business, is don't expect your first few clients to be some breakthrough, right? Because your first few clients are where you're going to learn the most about the type of business you're in. And with every client relation and with every client experience, you're going to learn more and what you're doing wrong and how you can improve your service. So I started taking on new clients, and with every new client, I was learning more and more and more. And for about 8 months there, I was in school trying to run the business, but I just simply wasn't doing enough. And it was partly because I was still in school, but also partly because I just didn't know what I was doing. So eventually it got to the point where I started to get good because I had learned for every single client and what to improve on, and I had tracked that. I knew how to treat clients better. And I had my first successful campaign with a restaurant, and we ran a restaurant campaign. It was a success, and I used that as my first case study testimonial, stacked on top of the first case we did with the real estate firm, but that was more of a, first experience, here's the results type of thing. There was no review or nothing. That's when it really started to turn into something that I could be doing full time. So that was in November of 2024. And from there, I got a few other clients. One which I would like to mention was a retreat center, which I helped them get massive results within 2 months. So they spent around $1,000 in ads and they made it back 12 times within 2 months. So that was a great case study and testimonial that I got from that. And that's where the ball really started rolling and I knew what I was doing. So from there, I started to implement systems where it was like, let's set up the CRM, and the CRM does the work for the client in terms of following up with the leads. They have all their calendars in one place, all their leads in one place, basically a platform for all marketing and sales in one place. Super organized and streamlined so that people can opt in onto a web page built there, book an appointment, and be followed up with correctly. Then came the summer where it was like, okay, I have an internship and I have the business. So what am I just going to do both? And for the first 2 weeks, that's just what I did. I did mostly the internship, but also business. And then I realized, like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this internship. I was a sales rep for the internship and I only got paid per deal closed, but I was a setter. So my job was to set appointments, but it didn't guarantee that the closer would close the appointments. And these guys were a startup and they had no idea what they were doing. So I was like, you know what? These guys have not even provided me with leads. They've just sent me out there to go and find leads on my own. And they're not even telling me what their target market is. They told me, like, this is the position that we're looking for. No niche, just a position. And I was like, okay. And I was going out there just dialing up random people. So after a few weeks, I called that quits and my rent was due. So I was like, we need to make some money because I'm not making any money from this internship. So I just started dialing up people for the agency and landed my first client for that summer and got the ball rolling from there. So the first client I landed that summer was 1.5K retainer client. And then I ended up signing 2 more on top of that within a couple months. And now I'm doing it full time. So went from literally 0 to 100 in the span of a few months. And the base had been set because of the whole year before that during school, when I was setting up the business, learning about the business, first started running it. Then the past summer, I scaled it from basically nothing to 5K a month. And now we have 1 semester left of school. So we're in school, we're back in school for just a semester, but we're still scaling and looking to hit 10K months within a few months. So we've got a couple setters on now helping us do with the sales. I'm still going to be doing all the service delivery. That's what it's looking like right now. And just looking at where I was a year ago versus now is huge. Like the difference is really big. Like a year ago, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Now I know what I'm doing. The main issue right now is just getting more clients and scaling. So I did run an ad campaign as well back in the day when I was working with those restaurants. Blew like 2K on ads. Restaurant owners as a niche are just not very responsive to that sort of thing because if you think about it, the ticket is so low for restaurants. It's just like $40 per person, right? Like let's say the person gets a drink and a meal, it's $40. So I found out very quickly that restaurants aren't a great niche because they're low ticket, they're busy, they barely have time to talk to you, they're stressed, and they don't have the money. Most of these mom and pop shops, they don't have money for marketing budgets and all that crap. So that's another thing that I learned. Stay away from those types of niches where they don't have the time and money to deal with you. I pivoted heavily. So now I've pivoted towards people that are in finance. Like for example, financial consultants, financial advisors, financial planners. These people have more time, they have more money. Their ticket per client is very high because let's say you're dealing with a high net worth asset under management advisor. The people that only take clients that have like $500,000 or more ready to invest. Those people are making like 5K per every single client you get them on average. So it's a lot better to get them leads for high net worth clients than it is for a restaurant owner because a lead for them means like $40 or maybe full lifetime value like $120. So when you're able to get leads for clients that charge big prices, you also get paid more, because that means that you can charge more. You can tell them, listen, when I bring you leads, when I bring you appointments, and the appointment could mean $5,000 a year and the client stays with you for 3 years, that's a lifetime value of $15,000. So you should actually be paying me around $5,000 minimum setup fee for that. And then you can frame it that way, because if you frame it as, we set it up one time and you make money forever and you get a return on your investment, there's no reason as to why they shouldn't take it. You just have to be able to prove it to them, right? So 3 key points for today: start small, be consistent, put in the hours. It's not a side hustle, it's a full-time hustle if you want to start your own business. And as soon as I started treating it like something that's a job rather than just a hobby, that's when you start to see results. And finally, don't go after little fish, go after big fish, because having a bunch of little fish clients is way worse than having a few bigger fish clients. Does that mean you should have 5K per client every time? No. You should have clients that are at least 1K per client, and on average like 2.5K per client minimum retainer. So that's how I started. Where I'm at now, we're scaling the business, it's doing well, doing this full time now. 1 semester of school left, then we're gonna scale to the moon, baby. So that's where we're at. A bit of a weird spot, because clients I'm working with right now and prospects I'm contacting her in Vancouver, but I'm in Montreal. So the time zone is 3 hours behind. Have more time during the day, basically, because I can wait till my appointment is for later. But that also means that I have less time to schedule appointments, because I have shit to do later. The appointments have to be scheduled earlier.